Now for our first hands-on step, dilution. And I can't stress this enough. Getting the concentration right is absolutely crucial. It's everything. It's for your bee's safety, and it's for the treatment to actually work.
So, when you buy formic acid, it's probably going to come at a really high concentration, usually around 85%. That is way too strong to use directly in the hive. We have to bring that down a lot. This is your magic number. This is the target you're aiming for. You want your final solution to be somewhere between 60 and 65%. That's the sweet spot, where it's tough on mites but safe for your bees.
And just so we're all on the same page, dilution is, well, it's pretty simple. It just means we're adding a solvent, which for us is just going to be water, to make the acid less potent. Simple, but so important.
Okay, now listen up, because this is probably the biggest safety rule you need to know for this whole process. You always add the acid to the water, never ever the other way around. If you add water to acid, it can boil and splash violently. So just remember, acid to water. Think A to W. It's a rule you just don't break.
All right, our solution is properly mixed and ready to go. Now for the fun part, the application. This is where the fast method really earns its name. It's a very direct and efficient way to get the treatment where it needs to be.
The most popular way to do this uses a simple, absorbent material. We're talking something like a basic kitchen sponge or even a thick piece of cardboard. Nothing fancy.
And the process itself couldn't be easier. You're just going to cut a square about 10 by 10 centimeters, soak it in your 60-65% formic acid solution, get it a little squeeze to make sure it's not dripping everywhere, and then you just lay it right on top of the frames inside your hive. That's it.
Now, there is another way you can do this. Some people like to put the soaked sponge inside a plastic bag with some holes in it. This just gives you a bit of a slower, more controlled release of the vapor inside the hive.
Okay, we know how to mix it, we know how to apply it, but that's only half the battle. When you do it and how often is just as critical, and it all depends on the weather.
So for a full, effective treatment, you're going to need to do 3 separate applications. This isn't just a random number. It's timed specifically to hit the Varroa mites throughout their entire life cycle. As you can see, the schedule is super simple. You apply it once, wait a week, apply it again, wait another week, and do it one last time. That weekly gap is the key. It ensures you're catching mites at every single stage of their development.
Now, if there's one thing that can absolutely make or break this treatment, it's the outside temperature. I mean it. The temperature controls how fast the acid evaporates, and that directly affects how well it works and how safe it is for your bees.
So here's your cheat sheet. The ideal zone is between 10 and 28 degrees Celsius. If it gets hotter than that, the acid evaporates too fast and it can actually harm your bees. If it's too cold, it won't evaporate enough to do any good. You've got to stay in that range.
And that brings us to our final section. And honestly, the most important one, safety. Formic acid is a fantastic tool, but it is still a potent chemical, and you have to treat it with respect.
This right here is the mantra. You need to remember this. There are no shortcuts, no "I'll just be careful" moments when you're working with this stuff. Your safety and the well-being of your bees has to be your #1 priority every single time.
So what does that mean in practice? First, gear up. Acid-resistant gloves and a protective mask are not optional, they are mandatory. You do not want this stuff touching your skin, it can cause very serious burns. So cover up.
And don't forget about your bees' safety too. The entrance to the hive has to be wide open during the entire treatment. This is for ventilation. It lets the fumes circulate properly and prevents them from building up to a level that could harm or even kill the colony.
You know, at the end of the day, it all boils down to this. If you follow the procedure correctly, if you get the dilution right, the application right, the timing right, and the safety right, you're going to have healthy, happy hives.
So there you have it. That's the complete playbook for the formic acid fast method. The knowledge is officially in your hands. So the only question left is, are you ready to put it to work and give your bees the protection they need?